With a new job and the promise of supplies, I started out of the outpost and down the old highway towards the area Ranger Jackson had marked on my Pip-Boy. It reminded me a lot of my time as a scout for the NCR, as we were often tasked with clearing trade routes or hunting down raiders who had been targeting caravans. I remember one instance when a caravan had been hit by raiders, and when we found the remains of the attack, myself and 2 other soldiers followed strange tracks that led off and away from the road. Turns out it wasn't raiders at all, but rather a massive Yaoguai. We killed it, but not before it tore one of the soldiers in 2. I never trusted anyone else's intel since then. I came up to the underpass of the highway and pulled out my binoculars to see what I was up against. Looked like some giant ants had taken over the area, so I moved forward with my shotgun out, knowing that would deal with them right quick. I took the high ground and started picking them off one by drawing them into my kill zone. The last one fell to my pistol, and I searched the immediate area to make sure I hadn't missed any, as I wasn't one to leave a job half-finished. Once I was satisfied, I decided to take a quick look at the old underground entrance, thinking that maybe that was where the ants had been coming from. I entered and began creeping forward into the darkness. Ahead, I could hear voices and then the sound of gunfire. That definitely wasn't the ants, so I backed out of there quickly, not wanting to get caught up in whatever hell was breaking loose in those old tunnels. I started back up the hill towards the outpost and couldn't help but think how easy the job had been. I wish every job could be that easy, and it got me thinking about that rad scorpion I was supposed to be hunting down but had been putting off. Rad scorpions had a thick carapace, and if the one I was hunting was even bigger than a normal one, then I worried nothing I had other than the Sharp's carbine would do any damage to it. I was running low on ammo for that cannon, and I needed to be careful with how I used it. Once I reached the top of the hill, I decided to take a quick detour before seeing Ranger Jackson. The bartender had mentioned a lookout on the roof who might have some work for me, and when I saw her up there, I decided to see if that was true.
You a courier? If so, this might be your lucky day. If you don't mind walking a bit. And your eyes are good.
That depends. What's the pay?
The pay? The pay is a good goddamn thanks from the heart of the Republic. Just shitting you with the NCR line. Done wonders for morale around here. President Kimball keeps saying getting shot at is its own damn reward. Do this job for me, though. I'll do what I can. People know I hate most everyone, so if I put in a word for you, that's gold.
Sounds fair enough. What's the job?
I think there's trouble in Nipton. No traffic from there on the roads. While I can explain that away, the smoke from the town I can't. I'm sure it's been hit. What I need to know is if they survived it. Might be powder gangers with all that smoke in the air. If there's anybody left, they'd be in the Nipton town hall. Go there. Check it out. Let me know what you find.
I'm heading that way anyway, so I might as well get paid for it.
All right. Look at you. All fired up and ready to go. Wish the others around here had that kind of attitude. Listen, I don't want you getting killed for this. So if you head there and run into trouble, I'm asking for eyes and ears, not your life. All right?
Anything else you can tell me about the outpost?
Not much to tell. One of the worst posts in the NCR if you're looking to be anything more than a babysitter. Full up here, but just enough so we can't send out patrols. Gotta maintain a standing force. Jackson's orders. NCR's orders. Can't spare men for patrols or escorts, so caravans are backing up here like a Brahmin with a bottle in its ass. Typical NCR bullshit.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Seems as though nothing had changed from when I was in the army. What about news from the West? Hear anything from NCR territory?
Kimball's Kimball. Not sure which end is his ass or his head. Caravan families are causing trouble. Big circle getting tense. The usual. Look, You want gossip, go to the bar downstairs and listen to a whole lot of nothing. Me? I gotta keep watch, then fill out the daily log.
Alright, well, I'll be going now.
Mind yourself on the plank going down.
Another easy job and more easy caps. I made my way down from the roof and back into the administration building to speak to Ranger Jackson and let him know the way north was clear.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Appreciate the help. Wish I had more work for you, but nothing else on the radar at the moment.
And my reward?
No, I mentioned you might accidentally get supplied, and I meant it. Not allowed to contract mercenaries at the outpost. Still, a requisition form or two can get lost, and they're not gonna come check. So here you go, just between us.
The supplies were meager but welcome. Jackson was a good man and a good soldier, something that wasn't rare in the NCR Army. What was rare was an intelligent ranking officer, someone who actually had experience in combat and being a soldier. Most of the time they were an appointed buffoon who had connections to someone higher up or an uncle in the NCR government. This led to experienced and effective soldiers like Jackson being told what to do by some moron who should be wearing a suit, not a uniform. I made my way outside and decided to rest for the night before heading out early in the morning to check on Nipton. If everything was fine there, then I wouldn't have to come back, and instead could be on my way to Novak. I would have to wait on that, though. As it was late, I decided to get some rest to avoid reaching Nipton in the middle of the night. I made my way over to the barracks and turned in early for the night, knowing I was going to be up early the next morning. If I could get to Nipton quickly, and as long as there was nothing to report, I could be on my way to Novak the same day. I fell asleep fast, enjoying my time in a nice bed, knowing that it wasn't going to last.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
I woke up early in the morning and made my way over to the bar to eat breakfast before heading out. I found Cass there, and wondered if she had ever left since I had seen her the day before. We struck up a conversation as I wolfed down a caravan lunch I had been saving.
Hello?
You come around like a bad habit. What's on your mind?
Still here, I see.
Whiskey and me are old friends. Keeps me going when times get rough. Like now. Got me into the caravan business, you know. Had to start transporting water instead of liquor, though. If I hadn't switched over, I'd end my trip with nothing but glass bottles rattling on the back of the Brahmin.
You've been here a while. Why don't you tell me a bit about the outpost?
You're looking at it. It's a watering hole without much to brag about. It's like a Brahmin drive gone wrong. Supposed to be a gate north, but you come here, you get caught in the pen. Better to head back home. If you don't have a gun and a will, don't matter much what you do when you reach here, except stare at that fucking monument outside.
The monument?
Don't even tell me you missed it coming in. It's like NCR showing its dick to all the East. If the Republic put as much effort into protecting the East as they put into those two asinine giants outside, then they'd be worth that monument. Statues of two men shaking hands covered in blood. Don't seem to be nothing to brag about.
Covered in blood?
I'm speaking figurative. Isn't any blood on their damn hands. Of course, when Caesar comes walking through here, there'll be blood for real. And after the blood dries in the sun, he'll melt that piece of jet-induced sculpture down and reshape it into a bull, which by my reckoning is making up for a deficiency of his. But no matter what the state of his pecker, he's sure giving the West a good fucking.
What are the statues supposed to represent?
One's a ranger, one's an NCR trooper, supposed to represent unification of West and East, or some such shit. As far as those two iron lovebirds go, they've got more spine you'll see in a year from the NCR government.
I'm pretty sure they're both supposed to be rangers. Guess my knowledge of NCR history finally came in handy.
Maybe you're right. Brimtats always throw me off. Well, fine, whatever. They can be shaking each other's dicks. Wouldn't change the Mojave now.
Well, I guess it's time for me to head out.
You take care now.
With that, I left the barracks and started my journey north for Nipton. I passed beneath the same statues we had been discussing, and I thought a bit about what Cass had said. Not sure I agreed with her, though. Monuments like this had broader purpose than just showing off. It was about pride and marking your territory. It was about keeping up morale and showing the world the NCR owned this place. Not sure it was working, but I also understood that wars were fought in more theaters than just the front. You had intelligence battles, communications, supply lines, and of course the war for morale. Better equipped armies had lost entire wars because they lost the battle for morale, something the NCR was obviously struggling with. As I came to the break in the road, I paused and took a look around before continuing on. I saw a rad scorpion along the highway, but only as I got closer did I realize it was dead. That's when I noticed the giant ants roaming the area. I did my best to stay low and crept along the eastern side of the road, avoiding a confrontation with the creatures. I had a feeling Ranger Jackson was going to be hiring someone else to deal with them once again. When I came to some ruins, I paused as I noticed a still burning campfire. Someone was there, or had been, and I carefully made my way around the ruins. I turned a corner, and a man fired bullets in my direction. I whipped around and dropped him with one shot from the Sharp's carbine. A second bandit opened fire and caused a nearby wreck to explode. Most of these old vehicles still had radioactive engines, and his shots must have set one off. I fired one shot to distract and suppress my enemy, then wheeled around and squared up my sights on him. All went quiet as I saw the man fall to his knees and then collapsed into the dust. I pulled out my pistol and moved forward cautiously. As I reached the center of the road, two more bandits came out and attacked me, but I dropped both of them with my pistol. I moved about and started searching their bodies and noticed the symbol of a jackal tattooed on one of them. I had heard of gangs like this before, just scavengers picking off easy prey and devouring the carcasses left behind by other predators. Well, they wouldn't be preying on anything anymore. I found the entrance to a basement in one of the ruins, but decided to avoid it for now. I wanted to get onto Nipton, and then Novak if I could, and I had already had enough of a distraction. As I came around the ruins, two more bandits approached. I killed both of them before holding fire on what looked like a third. Thankfully, I didn't fire as a young lady came running up to me.
Did you see that? That guy was gonna kill me.
She was pretty beat up, and I asked why those men were chasing her.
He kept shouting about stars or something. Does that make any sense to you?
Stars? Hell, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No reason it should, I suppose. I need to be going. Thank you again.
Good luck, kid, I said, and she started off towards the Mojave outpost. She was close enough that she shouldn't have too much trouble reaching it even in her condition, or I would have half a mind of escorting her back. Instead, I turned my attention north into the long walk across the barren waste to Nipton. I reached the outskirts of Nipton by midday, and even from a distance I could tell something was wrong. Smoke billowed from large burning piles of debris, and I saw strange flags bearing the sign of a bull hanging outside the town. The Legion had been here. Had to be. I readied my weapon and moved forward, and that was when I saw a man standing in the center of the road waving at me. He was unarmed, but he wore the armor of a powder ganger, so I readied my gun as he ran up, raving like a lunatic.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! Smell that air! Couldn't you just drink it like booze?
Are you a powder ganger?
Powder ganger? What? I mean, yeah, used to be, sure. But not no more. Powder gang is small time, man. I'm a winner! I won the motherfucking lottery!
He sounded crazy, like a junkie hopped up on Psycho or some other drug. You feeling all right? I asked.
Are you kidding me? Never felt better. Yeah!
What is this about a lottery?
What lottery? The lottery, that's what lottery! Are you stupid? Only lottery that matters. Oh my god, smell that air!
He was clearly out of his mind, but he didn't seem to present any threat.
Bye.
I nodded and wished him well, and watched as he ran off down the road. Once he was gone, I turned my attention to the town. I could head back now and tell them the Legion had hit Nipton, but I was curious to see what the man had been talking about. I moved forward with my weapon drawn, and then entered the first building that wasn't on fire. Inside, I found another powder ganger by the looks of it, but this one was different. His legs were mangled as if someone had taken a hammer to them, and he winced in pain as I approached.
Are you fucking kidding me? First I get my leg smashed, and then in walks the powder ganger's grim fucking reaper. What the fuck have you got against us, man? Jesus fucking Christ! If you want me dead, just give me 15 medics and I'll fucking OD for you, okay? Fuck!
Just calm down, kid. What happened here?
The Legion happened. What the fuck's it look like?
That confirmed it, if the flags hadn't already. How did you survive?
Luck, that's how. I'm just that fucking lucky. You're looking at the second place winner of the Nipton lottery. That asshole Swanwick took first place, so him they let walk.
Tell me about this lottery. What happened?
It ain't like we came to Nipton to play it. Me and my crew had it worked out to kidnap some NCR troopers who come to town to get laid. Had it all worked out with the scumbag mayor. We were gonna ransom them off, keep their weapons for ourselves, a nice score.
Even the best plans have a way of going awry. What went wrong?
We get in position, and next thing we know, we're surrounded by those fucking Legion freaks. They dragged us and everybody else into the center of town. And that asshole with a dog on his head, he starts talking about how we're bad people. He said we needed to be punished for what we did. Not all of us, but some of us. And then he gives everyone a fucking lottery ticket.
What did the Legionnaires do after that?
What do you think? He started drawing tickets and that's how people got punished. First up was the lucky losers. They got decapitated. Guess that's lucky cause it's pretty quick. Then came the crucifixions. God damn, but those went on and on and on. Third place runners-up got enslaved. I got the fuck beat out of my legs, and the winner, they let go free.
What happened to the mayor?
Him? When his ticket came up, they burned him alive on a pile of tires.
Damn, not the best way to go out. He must have been one of the bodies I saw burning while walking into town. You said some of the survivors were enslaved? What happened with them?
Yeah, a bunch of those Legion fucks dragged them off right away. They were headed east, if you're feeling heroic.
Great. A group of civilians dragged off, and at the moment I was their only hope. Guess it was up to me to play the hero, not that I wanted to.
Don't act like you'd be doing me a favor. I don't give a fuck.
With that, I left the wounded man behind with a few doses of Med-X. It would dull the pain, but not much else. I made my way outside and started towards the center of town, and that was when I saw it. The main street of Nipton was lined with crucifixions, some of the victims still moaning in pain and drawing in rabid gasps of agonizing breaths. My heart stopped when I saw the Legion soldiers still standing in front of the Nipton town hall, almost like a welcoming party. There were at least 6 that I could see, and that was already too many. These were trained killers, soldiers, not the useless rabble like common raiders. This wasn't a fight I could win, but I also couldn't just turn and run. So, with one foot in front of the other, I slowly walked down the street of death. As I drew nearer, the soldiers fanned out, practically surrounding me. I squared up with them, pistol at the ready. 5 shots was all I had, but at least I wouldn't go out empty-handed. Instead of a fight, something else happened. Their leader, a man wearing a massive wolf's head as a trophy, stepped forward and spoke.
Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates. It's useful that you happen by. I want you to witness the fate of the town of Nipton. to memorize every detail. And then, when you move on, I want you to teach everyone you meet the lesson that Caesar's Legion taught here, especially any NCR troops you run across.
Really? And what lesson did you teach here? I asked.
Where to begin? That they are weak and we are strong? This much was known already. But the depths of their moral sickness, their dissolution, Nipton serves as the perfect object lesson.
Tell me what happened here.
Nipton was a wicked place, debased and corrupt. It served all comers, so long as they paid. Profligate troops, powder gangers, men of the Legion, such as myself. The people here didn't care. It was a town of whores. For a pittance, the town agreed to lead those it had sheltered into a trap. Only when I sprang it did they realize they were caught inside it too.
So you took them all captive, even the ones you paid to be traitors?
Yes, and herded them to the center of town. I told them their sins, the foremost being disloyalty. I told them that when legionaries are disloyal, some are punished, the others made to watch. And I announced the lottery. Each clutched his ticket, hoping it would set him free. Each did nothing, even when loved ones were dragged away to be killed.
When I was in the army, we had a code, and a big part of it was that civilians were off limits. Men can agree to fight and kill each other, but the rest should be left alone if they aren't going to be picking sides. This pig crossed that line when he decided to murder an entire town.
Ha! Innocent. Hardly. Cowardly, though. They outnumbered us, yet not once did they try to resist. They stood and watched as their fellows were butchered, crucified, and burned. One by one, they stood and hoped their turn would not come. Each cared only for himself.
I stared daggers at the man, my hand itching to draw my pistol and blow his smug head off right then and there. I didn't, though, because mine would be blown off soon after by one of his other soldiers. Instead, I stared him down and let him know I wouldn't forget this, nor would I forgive him for his crimes.
As are all crimes, if you feel strongly about it, attack us, and soon you won't feel a thing.
The men turned and started off down the road. I watched as they departed, wanting to draw and kill every one of them. I had no love for the NCR, but these barbarians, well, they made me feel a whole lot better about my past. I realized I needed to report back to the Mojave outpost, but I also couldn't leave the men and women they had taken to torment in a life of slavery. They would move slowly with captives, though, and that would give me enough time to get back to the outpost and then begin my pursuit. Let them think they've won, and then, when they let their guard down, I'll be there with bullets and blood. On my way out of the town, I took a moment to finish off those who were still suffering from the crucifixions. I checked on each one of them, but they were too far gone to save. I felt numb as I walked out of town, leaving behind the burned and charred remains of what was once the town of Nipton.
When they poured across the border, I was cautioned to surrender. This I could not do. I took my gun and I vanished. I have changed my name so often. lost my wife and children, but I have many friends, and some of them are with me.